Ms. Engel already answered somewhat the question I was going to ask. It's going to be, what is the best way, in your opinion, that you could generate revenue and also cut expenses for the government?
You want me to start? Well, generating revenue, on my website, tarp2010.org, I have an economic plan that talks about job growth. First and foremost, we want to keep the jobs that are here and allows the small businesses, which make up 70% of our economy, to succeed. We do that by lowering the tax burdens they have on them and lessening the government regulations you have on them. But here in Nevada, we can do two things to create jobs that no other place can do. Turn Yucca Mountain into a nuclear reprocessing facility of nuclear spent fuel. It'll create 7,000 jobs immediately, hundreds of millions of dollars, up to $1 billion when we're actually, when a private company comes in and resells the reprocessing fuel. We turn UNLV and UNR into leading research institutions in the whole world. Second area we can do is take back some of the federal land the government is holding that is only used for commercial purposes right now. Get the state to take back ownership of that and use that to entice companies that are leaving California and other states to come here in Nevada. Boeing just left Washington and went back to Georgia. There's companies leaving California. We need to get them here. We can use that with the great advantage of having that land, hundreds of acres on South Las Vegas Boulevard. Thank you.
More importantly, how do we cut spending? We got plenty of revenue, plenty. $14.6 trillion in debt. It took America 200 years to arrive at $1 trillion. It took Harry Reid since December, 6 months ago, to jack it up by $2 trillion. Every Monday morning, the Treasury Department goes to Wall Street and get billions of dollars. So one way, I don't like to talk about revenue because that means taxes. So if we continue with the tax cuts, then the revenue will be generated through capital gain and so forth, because you have to unleash the private enterprise system in order to get revenue over there. So that's my whole idea, that I'm in favor of increasing mining in Nevada. Lithium is very important. Nevada is rich in lithium. Lithium is for batteries, electric cars, and so forth. According to President Obama, we're going to have 40% energy source here from, alternative. Thank you.
First off, I believe that we need to learn from the lessons of history. I think we should follow the lessons that President Hardy instituted in 1920-21. First off, we have to cut off our spending or cut down our spending by 50% across the board in the nation. Second, we have to cut the taxes. One of the other issues that's involved with that tax cut is that we have to realign the IRS, either by auditing the Fed and then realigning the IRS to provide a more fair or flat tax system. And by doing that, that will encourage business growth across the nation, and in particular here in Nevada. In Nevada, one of our biggest industries, which is mining, we should be cutting their regulations down and allowing them to be able to do business instead of adding taxes onto their rolls that they have to pay. By doing that, we will initiate a larger job growth inside the mining community. As well as that, it will entice greater development in other businesses that support mining. It would also increase other businesses' services for retail businesses across the nation. Thank you.
My name is Carlo Poliak. Carlo Poliak again. And I'm going to do something different. I'm going to work with groups such as yourself in order to be a successful representative. My wife impressed upon me the necessity for balancing the budget, home budget. I'm very concerned about the federal budget and how do we can't accomplish anything until we take care of the federal budget. And we need to do that by eliminating foreign aid, corporate welfare, tax shelters, subsidies. We have to do that first. English as a primary language, enforce immigration laws, assist the wretched homeless. But I'm going to work with groups such as yourself. That's how I'm going to achieve, with your help.
I'm Terry Sumanen, and to generate revenue, we need to stop spending what we don't have. Currently, we spend 43 cents out of every dollar by getting loans from China, Japan, or what have you. We can't continue spending what we don't have. We need to stop the waste and fraud in our federal government. Right now, we have 21,000 buildings that the federal government owns that are sitting vacant and empty. And the CBO says we could sell them for $83 billion. It costs us $8 billion right now to just maintain them each and every year with nobody in them. The federal government is so full of fraud and waste. We could stop the fraud and waste and save billions. According to the Peterson-Pew Research Commission, we have to cut spending by $500 billion a year to bring down our national debt so we don't go into a bankrupt nation within the next 5 years. If we don't stop the spending in Washington, we can't control the revenue. So, point in fact is alleviate the waste, make it mandatory that if we have waste of any type or fraud of any type, we have some type of repercussion for the Congress. Thank you, Terry Sooner.
Sharon Angle at SharonAngle.com. My economic policy is there on my website, but basically it is pay it back first, which is pay back the $500 billion in stimulus that we still have left, pay back the $500 billion in TARP that is coming in but going into a slush fund right now. It needs to go on the deficit, and the $100 billion in unspent appropriations. $1.1 trillion should be paid out back immediately to give small businesses the confidence that we are willing to go the right direction and give them an opportunity to take those risks that they need to take. The second is cut back, and by that I mean we need to prioritize our cuts. First, we have the A priorities of spending. Those are the ones in the enumerated box of the Constitution, like the military. And then everything else is a B or C priority, and begin cutting those B and C priorities by 5% per year for the next 5 years. This would exclude Medicare and Social Security because that's a contract that we made with our senior citizens. And as we do those cutbacks, we should be looking at things like unconstitutional czars and the Department of Education. Finally, we need to take it back by auditing the Fed, abolishing the IRS code, getting rid of Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and absolutely not funding Obamacare. Thank you.
My name is Gary Bernstein again. First of all, the concept of just reducing spending doesn't actually address the real problem. Those of us up here who have actually made payrolls our entire life and have created businesses and what have you understand that business, successful business, is the art of refining your systems to constantly get more with less. To just say cut spending in the government would not really be addressing the actual problem. The actual problem is that government is the practice of getting less with more. They throw too much money at too many things and they don't ever spend it effectively. They have very little requirements for success in any of the spending that they do. There are no real safeguards or double checking how the money is actually used. Government in general just needs to refocus the way it actually allocates money and spends money, and actually needs to insist on getting something in exchange for the money that it spends. I don't think we should be giving foreign aid to countries that don't actually do something in return to the country. I also think there's areas that everybody here is talking about spending less. And true, we should spend less, but there are areas where we also should spend more. As an example, military men and women who return from Iraq, who have lost an arm or a leg, some limb there, should not be forced to replace that limb with their own money. The government, in my view, should provide the best technology, the very best equipment, the very best prosthetics that are available at no charge to those individuals, in my view. And so, yes, there are places where we should spend less, and there are also, in my view, places that we should spend more.